Good morning. It is currently 6:30 a.m. I have to get up early because it takes at least 3 hours to get to London. So, let's get ready. I don't know if this is dirty or not, but I'm with the white top, blue tights, number one the neck here. Fuck, I don't remember what the name of those shoes are. I usually have no idea what time it is. I was fighting my wake up since 5. It's 6:59. It's almost 7. I have an hour. Gotta wake up my dad. So, see you in a second. Large. What is this?
She told me I'll be waiting for me.
Like one of those little stops where you get your gas, you get coffee, Burger King. I don't know if you can see that. It's currently raining we're in North Wales. We passed through Stratford and Birmingham. Wait, no, we haven't passed by Birmingham yet. We went through Stratford. We're in North Wales now. But I figured you guys should see me because I haven't shown myself in a while. To the travel vlog. We're currently in the car for the road trip. My dad has stopped to use the bathroom after we just stopped for me to use the bathroom. But I think I want to get some food. Yeah. Bye.
out of Babylon, yeah. We're moving to a higher land, yeah. With the power of the higher one, oh. We're moving to Mount Zion, yeah. Yes, we're moving out of Babylon, yeah. We're moving to a higher land, yeah. With the power of
3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
So I've got a task for the young people. Do you see there's 2 lions here? Well, I want you to go into the sacred garden and to see how many lions you can count all together. See, look all around, all up on benches, different things all around. See if you can see any lions and come back to me with a number. Winter. And when they reach February 1937, they reach the most tragic period of the whole of the exile time. The Italians had been occupying Addis Ababa for a number of months, and they'd been playing very nice with the local population in the capital city. There was new banks, there was new products, new roads. They're trying their best to convince the educated Ethiopians that their colonization plot is a good thing. The Ethiopians rebelled, and they threw grenades at General Graziani, who Mussolini put there to take control of Ethiopia. And in response, Graziani and Mussolini ordered a full-scale Roman reprisal to happen against the Ethiopians. So thousands of black shirt troops, who were the thuggish hooligan troops that brought Mussolini,
came to the support of the royal family because actually there wasn't a lot of money. There were food packages that would arrive anonymously at the door, packets of coal, a truckload of coal once that arrived anonymously. People would volunteer to work here to help the household, local people about it. And when the members of the electric board came to visit the family, the royal family here, and they saw that they had really thick rugs over their legs in wintertime and were cold and shivering, they felt ashamed. And they waived the fees for the electric here for the family. And we live in hope that this kind of kindness still continues with electric companies to this day. I want you to now listen to some of the reflections of the neighbors of the family while they were here during that time.
Some of our magical pedals. It plays like normal piano. It's got a soft pedal and a sustained pedal. If you open up, it's got a full chord. Who would like to open the first magical panel? Any volunteers? First gear, then we rewind it. If I do that, it rewinds faster. Now we slow down to the beginning. Try and get the right speed. We can correct it if it's wrong. Now we go to forwards gear, and And now we play Name That Tune. Shout out if you know what this tune is. Start playing when the punched holes start coming up. Yeah. More energy. There you go.
And then he drove her from the station to Fairfield House to say, this is our new home here. So this is the prince's room, and the emperor's sons lived in this space. It's the crown prince and Princess Sahai. And Princess Sahai became a nurse during World War II. She was known as Nurse Haile Selassie, and it said in the newspapers that she just wanted to be treated as an ordinary nurse. After the death of Princess Tenanyawerk's husband,
Anyone else around?
yeah, so we're going now to the private area because we're standing now in what was the Emperor and Empress's living room space, more the Empress's living room space, we've been told. And it leads to the Empress's private area over here, and then the Emperor's bedroom is that way. So in the Empress's private area, this is the Kidani Meheret prayer room, the covenant of mercy about the goodness of Mary. And this is a sanctified room for the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition at Fairfield House, which is the faith of the Emperor and Empress. And this room has been made this way to reflect a prayer room in Ethiopia at a monastery that was used by the Empress and decorated by her, and it's been kept the same since that time. The Empress was such a woman of faith that she actually pledged her crown to go to the monastery in Jerusalem in Ethiopia. This window reminded him of the hills of Harar. And Harar is the province in Ethiopia where the emperor was born and where he grew up. And there's a picture of the greenhouse chapel up here as it was in 1954. And we were standing in the left-hand side that's slightly obscured by that tree branch. Exactly the same. I've heard that ours is older, can be found in the British Museum in London. And on the right-hand side, connection between Ethiopia and England. After the Battle of Adwa, to be an Ethiopian was synonymous with being a great warrior. So children in the early 20th century could take their little Ethiopian figurines and march them against their Italian or British or French figurines. And you'll find examples of these all throughout our museum here. This corner of the room is about the Solomonic dynasty, and in the Bible we learn about the meeting of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. And in the Ethiopian tradition, it's even more intimate, shall we say. They have a son called Menelik I. He becomes the first emperor of the Solomonic dynasty, and Haile Selassie is the 225th emperor in this line of kings, going back to the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. Ethiopia is one of the oldest Christian countries in the world. It's mentioned in the book of Acts with Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch. And in their premier church, which is in Aksum in the north of the country, they claim to have the Ark of the Covenant. And this is represented by these ancient stelae here, denoting the city of Aksum. In Aksum, in St. Mary's of Zion Church, they have a guardian monk that spends his whole life in this compound. And when he passes away, he's replaced by another guardian monk, and their job is to guard the Ark of the Covenant. In the Guinness World Records in the 1960s, Haile Selassie had the most bemedaled chest. He was the most decorated world leader, And earlier in his life, in the 1930s, he's one of the most photographed world leaders. And in the 1950s, he's the most travelled world leader in that time also. The emperor was surpassed in modern time by Carter. And that's the highest order of chivalry and knighthood in this knighting you. So immediately Haile Selassie knights is in the middle, the Order of the Lion of Judah, or Menelik II, and the Imperial Star of Ethiopia over here. And Ethiopia, the reason why Haile Selassie is here at Fairfield House. And there's a photograph on the wall here, and the emperor has his foot on an unexploded Italian bomb. And the journalists that took this photograph, they said they ran back. They set their timers on their cameras and they ran back, but they were so scared that the noises from the cameras would make the bomb explode. Haile Selassie knows exactly what he's doing. He's sending a defiant message out of Africa to say his country will not bow to this modern European colonial invasion. When Sylvia Pankhurst, the famous suffragette, and she's there on her own magazine there after her passing, and here in the garden of Fairfield House also, when she found out about what was happening to Ethiopia, she decided she was going to devote her life to Ethiopian liberation. She founded a very important newspaper called the New Times and Ethiopian News, and this was so revolutionary it was illegal. I like to imagine that this is like a Highland Scottish scene behind him, and at least in the landscape he's filmed feeling some similarity with Ethiopia. Just a few months later he'd be resident at Fairfield House, and this cabinet over here represents life in exile at Fairfield. And these are the few items that we have reflecting the emperor's time whilst he was here in the 1930s. This is a postcard sent by the Ethiopian royal family, and it's signed Fairfield, Bath. This is the Emperor's English dictionary down here. This is a souvenir that the family was selling at a church fete to raise money so that they could keep going. And here, this green item is the Emperor's personal seal that was on his prayer books and other items. And the machinery for this was found in Bainton's bookshop, which is one of the oldest book binderies in the world, which is in Bath City. And one day they were opening a drawer and they saw a Lion of Judah implement. And they took this Lion of Judah implement and they put it in the machine, and they decided to make this item for us. So it's the only time it's been used since they were requested by the emperor to make items for them. And then we have an extraordinary special item. It's this golden stick down here, this tiny golden stick. And this lady, Gwen O'Sullivan, pictured, she was a nurse during World War II in Britain, and she was making her way on a train from London to Bristol. She was making her way down to Niue, and these kava belonged to Rastafari 100 years ago in the 1920s. He gifted these, a male version and a female version, to a British foreign minister that was working in Iraq. And then their family have loaned them to us at Fairfield House so they can be on display. This belonged to one of the emperor's daughters, and when things got really hard financially, she went into the city of Bath and she sold this item for a little money, and she brought that back to the family household. The family that she sold it to, they kept hold of it and passed it down their generations until it was decided that it should be on display here at Fairfield House to tell this story about how much the family was suffering. The tour and the story ends over here because this is 1954, the Emperor's return state visit to Britain. He's not a refugee this time, he's a celebrated state visitor. This is 13 years after he was last in the country. He was first a guest in Britain of Queen Elizabeth's grandfather. That's the relationship between them when he came in 1924. This time, when his ship is arriving at Portsmouth, the Emperor is accompanied by a fleet of 10 Royal Navy cruisers, and each one of them is flying the Ethiopian Lion of Judah flag. When he steps foot on British soil, the RAF do a flyover, spraying the Ethiopian colours to let everybody know that the Emperor of Ethiopia has returned to us. He gets on a train from Portsmouth to London, and waiting on the platform is the young Queen Elizabeth with her mother and Winston Churchill, and they're waiting to greet Empire uniform to symbolise this. When Haile Selassie arrived in Jamaica, there's never been scenes like it before. Approximately 100,000 people pushed down the barriers and ran on the runway and surrounded the plane soon after it landed. The emperor called for a Rastafari leader, not a government official. He called for a Rastafari Ethiopia. The Crown Council of Ethiopia is managed by the emperor's the son of his youngest grandson, Prince Haile Selassie, and they're quite active. So they're a monarchy in exile, but they're all across the world giving out awards and speaking about Ethiopia, and especially because there's such ethnic division within Ethiopia. There's wars going on all the time in other places, so they speak quite regularly on this topic, representing unity of the Ethiopian people. But because it's become so divided, and there's a lot of trauma and a lot of things between these different groups that were never separated, I see that it's going to be many decades before there'll be any sort of restoration. But what is really interesting is that people from the palaces in Ethiopia that hadn't yet opened came here to Fairfield House to see what we are doing, opening to the public and presenting the story, because this year they're open to watching what we're doing and how we're presenting this story. And when I went to Ethiopia in January, I saw that there's certain things that...
In fact, I need to get back up that way. There are the Rastafarian ones, the Ethiopian ones.
I'm not sure what that is.
Caribbean, it has all the celebrations listed. So that
Isn't she beautiful?
Where would I get that from?
She's so beautiful.
I'll show you.
What's all those
Did you
tools?
want to hear the Emperor's speech, part of his speech that he made at the League of Nations?
He has a speech?
Yeah. And if you go on YouTube, you can see the Adwa. So we had the celebrations. That was really cool. I was going to do it this year, and guess what happened? It snowed. Very colorful. We've got the flag.
I think I might get myself
the
one of these
horns, the
books.
music, and you can see footage of it. But I wanted, and the priests are out. You know, they say prayers at the stars. Like I wanted to go, and it snowed.
So what's this?
Beautiful journey. Look at this plant. Isn't it pretty? It's not really blossoming, but it looks nice. And then look at this lion, sort of kind of locked-headed thing. You know what I should have asked him? The